Real play is the way, or so the science says. Osmo grows academics and improves analysis. We turn your tablet into a learning life hack, mixing digital curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback. I'm Clav, I'm Fob. Curriculum with play that's throwback.
Hola. Hello. 1 second. Okay. What's up, Maddox? I'm gonna have a hard time seeing the chat because it's on a monitor that's kind of far away and it's really small, and I'm monitoring it from a totally different... I'm actually monitoring the stream itself, so it's delayed. And I can't really tell if you can hear me or not, because I can't... Can you hear me? Give me a heads up, just to make sure. This setup is so not what I wanted, but it's the only way that I can make it work. Fingers crossed. It's a new camera. Maddox. This is the Sony a6100, which I highly recommend. So far, it's looks really good. It's doing a really good job. Let me, you can hear, okay, cool. And you can hear me on my crazy expensive microphone. There we go. Okay. All right, so there is audio happening, and we're good. Okay. What time is it? It's 5:03. Good. Sorry for the remnants of the black eye. Is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and get started. This story is one of my favorite short stories. It's written by Harlan Ellison. It was written in 1966, and I think published in 1967. I might have those years mixed up. It might be 67, 68, but I know they're 1 year apart. It's won a ton of awards. Won a Hugo Award. It's one of my favorites for the writing style, not necessarily what the story is about. I've always been a really big fan of Harlan Ellison's, just his style, the way he structures his writing, and just his descriptive, his narrative. It's all good stuff. Not the best dialogue writer, but I don't know if there were any classic sci-fi authors that were tremendous dialogue writers. It was more the concept and the idea of the story itself. This is going to take about 38 to 45 minutes, depending on how it goes. Yeah. I think I'm just going to jump right into it. I got my coffee. I got my lights turned on. My camera's working. I got audio. I've got the book in front of me, which I think I've got like 8 copies of this book now over the years. I actually have the copy that you're seeing on the screen there. I've got that copy as well as an original, it's like this little paperback nothing that I got from a library that was closing down. I didn't want to read it from a book, though. I wanted to read it the way that I'm used to it. This is how I usually work. I'm used to this whole setup. I'm used to looking at an iPad. I'm used to being able to flip pages, no sounds, that kind of stuff. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I hope. It's going to be fun for me. I mean, maybe, it'll be fun for you guys too. It's a really interesting story, though. It's got some dark aspects to it, but it's just written so well. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm trying out, this is kind of like a test run. I'm going to try and do some live narration of my actual work. I can't do romance because of the content for Twitch. They make a big deal about that. But I can do my fantasy, my sci-fi, my lit RPG. I can do that kind of stuff. So I'm getting this stuff all situated to where I can actually work live and people can pop in and watch me record my books. The ones that don't have any adult content. So, and one of the things that got me into acting and narration was watching Jim Dale do a live performance of Harry Potter for a bunch of kids and adults. It was pretty cool, and that was kind of what spurned this idea. And then also my friend Travis Baldry, he records all of his work live on Discord, not video. I wanted to step it up. I wanted to have more of a live performance aspect to some of this material. So that's where the idea came from. That's why I'm doing this. Thank you very much. Beautiful picture. So gotta stop slouching. I'm a sloucher. Yeah, I don't care. We're a little bit late, so it's like 5, 6 after. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. It's very raw. It's a raw performance. There's gonna be some mistakes. I'm not recording this. This is just I'm recording the stream itself, but I'm not actually recording the audio of this. So this is, however this goes, is how it's gonna go and how it's gonna be forever and ever and ever and ever. I got my coffee. I'm fully hydrated, and I'm ready to read. Here we go. I have no mouth, and I must scream. Written by Harlan Ellison. Limp, the body of Gorister hung from the pink pallet, unsupported, hanging high above us in the computer chamber, and it did not shiver in the chill, oily breeze that blew eternally through the main cavern. The body hung head down, attached to the underside of the pallet by the sole of its right foot. It had been drained of blood through a precise incision made from ear to ear under the lantern jaw. There was no blood on the reflective surface of the metal floor. When Gorrister joined our group and looked up at himself, it was already too late for us to realize that once again, AM had duped us, had had its fun. It had been a diversion on the part of the machine. 3 of us had vomited, turning away from one another in a reflex as ancient as the nausea that had produced it. Gorrister went white. It was almost as though he had seen a voodoo icon and was afraid of the future. "Oh, God," he mumbled and walked away. The 3 of us followed him after a time and found him sitting with his back to one of the smaller, chittering banks, his head in his hands. Ellen knelt down beside him and stroked his hair. He didn't move, but his voice came out of his covered face quite clearly. "Why doesn't it just do us in and get it over with? Christ, I don't know how much longer I can go on like this." It was our 109th year in the computer. He was speaking for all of us. Nimdoc, which was the name the machine had forced him to use because AM amused itself with strange sounds, was hallucinating that there were canned goods in the ice caverns. Gorrister and I were very dubious. "It's another shuck," I told them. "Like the goddamn frozen elephant AM sold us. Benny almost went out of his mind over that one. We'll hike all that way, and it'll be putrefied or some damn thing. I say forget it. Stay here. It'll have to come up with something pretty soon, or we'll die." Benny shrugged. 3 days it had been since we'd last eaten. Worms. Thick. Ropey. Nimdoc was no more certain. He knew there was the chance, but he was getting thin. It couldn't be any worse there than here. Colder, but that didn't matter much. Hot, cold, hail, lava, boils, or locusts, it never mattered. The machine masturbated, and we had to take it or die. Ellen decided us. "I've got to have something, Ted. Maybe there'll be some Bartlett pears or peaches. Please, Ted, let's try it." I gave in easily. What the hell? Mattered not at all. Ellen was grateful, though. She took me twice out of turn. Even that had ceased to matter. And she never came, so why bother? But the machine giggled every time we did it. Loud up there, back there, all around us, he snickered. It snickered. Most of the time I thought of AM as it, without a soul. But the rest of the time I thought of it as him, in the masculine, the paternal, the patriarchal, for he is a jealous people. Him. It. God as Daddy the deranged. We left on a Thursday. The machine always kept us up to date on the date. The passage of time was important, not to us, sure as hell, but to him. It. AM. Thursday. Thanks. Nimdoc and Gorrister carried Ellen for a while, their hands locked to their own and each other's wrists. A seat. Benny and I walked before and after, just to make sure that if anything happened, it would catch one of us, and at least Ellen would be safe. Fat chance safe. Didn't matter. It was only 100 miles or so to the ice caverns, and the second day, when we were lying out under the blistering sun thing, he had materialized. He sent down some manna. Tasted like boiled boar urine. We ate it. On the third day, we passed through a valley of obsolescence, filled with rusting carcasses of ancient computer banks. AM had been... Drink time. AM had been as ruthless with its own life as with ours. It was a mark of his personality. It strove for perfection. Whether it was a matter of killing off unproductive elements in his own world-filling bulk or perfecting methods for torturing us, AM was as thorough as those who had invented him, now long since gone to dust, could ever have hoped. There was light filtering down from above, and we realized we must be very near the surface. But we didn't try to crawl up to see. There was virtually nothing out there, had been nothing that could be considered anything for over 100 years, only the blasted skin of what had once been the home of billions. Now, there were only 5 of us, down here inside, alone with AM. I heard Ellen saying frantically, "No, Benny, don't! Come on, Benny, don't, please!" And then I realized I had been hearing Benny murmuring under his breath for several minutes. He was saying, "I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna get out," over and over. His monkey-like face was crumbled up in an expression of beatific delight and sadness, all at the same time. The radiation scars AM had given him during the festival were drawn down into a mass of pink-white puckerings, and his features seemed to work independently of one another. Perhaps Benny was the luckiest of the five of us. He had gone stark, staring mad many years before. But even though we could call AM any damn thing we liked, could think the foulest thoughts of fused memory banks and corroded base plates, of burnt-out circuits and shattered control bubbles, the machine would not tolerate our trying to escape. Benny leaped away from me as I made a grab for him. He scrambled at the face of a smaller memory cube, tilted on its side and filled with rotted components. He squatted there for a moment, looking like the chimpanzee AM had intended him to resemble. Then he leaped high, caught a trailing beam of pitted and corroded metal, and went up it, hand over hand like an animal, till he was on a girdered ledge 20 feet above us. "Oh, Ted, Nimdoc, please help him. Get him down before—" She cut off. Tears began to stand in her eyes. She moved her hands aimlessly. It was too late. None of us wanted to be near him when whatever was going to happen happened. And besides, we all saw through her concern. When AM had altered Benny, during the machine's utterly irrational, hysterical phase, it was not merely Benny's face the computer had made like a giant ape's. He was big in the privates. She loved that. She serviced us, as a matter of course, but she loved it from him. Oh, Ellen. Pedestal Ellen, pristine, pure Ellen. Oh, Ellen the clean. Scum, filth. Gorrister slapped her. She slumped down, staring up at poor, loony Benny, and she cried. It was her big defense, crying. We had gotten used to it 75 years before. Gorrister kicked her in the side. Then the sound began. It was light, that sound. Half sound and half light. Something that began to glow from Benny's eyes and pulse with growing loudness. Dim sonorities that grew more gigantic and brighter as the light/sound increased in tempo. It must have been painful, and the pain must have been increasing with the boldness of the light, the rising volume of the sound, for Benny began to mew like a wounded animal. At first, softly, when the light was dim and the sound was muted, then louder as his shoulders hunched together. His back humped as though he was trying to get away from it. His hands folded across his chest like a chipmunk's, his head tilted to the side, the sad little monkey face pinched in anguish. Then he... Oh. Did it freeze? Hope it didn't freeze. Okay. I don't know if it froze up there, but let's start again. I don't know if it froze up there, but let's start again. I don't know if it froze up there, but let's start again. I don't know if it froze up there. Benny was suddenly pulled erect. On the girder, he stood up. I don't know. Jerked to his feet. Froze up there. Benny was suddenly pulled erect. The light was now pulsing out of his eyes and stood up. Great drowned beams. Benny was suddenly the light was now pulsing out of his eyes and stood up. Great drowned beams. Benny was suddenly the light was now pulsing out of his eyes and stood up. Great drowned beams. Benny was suddenly the light was now pulsing out of his eyes and stood up. Benny was suddenly the light was now pulsing out of his eyes and stood up. Benny was suddenly the light was now pulsing out of his eyes and stood up. Light beat right sitting and we read stories, sitting in the red and we write stories. We had done this in 1,000 times, and we write stories. We had done this in 1,000 times, and we write stories. We had done this in 1,000 times, and we write stories. We had done this in 1,000 times, There was the Chinese and he ruled the Russians. There was the Chinese and he ruled the Russians. And he was beating them. And he was beating the Chinese in large part. And he was beating them. He was nine. And he was beating the Chinese in large part. And he was beating them. He started nine. And he was beating the Chinese in large part. And he was beating them. He started nine. And he was beating the Chinese in large part. And he was beating them. He started nine. And he was beating the Chinese in large part. And he was beating them. He started nine. And he was beating the Chinese in large part. And he was beating them. He started nine. They sang the first shaft. They needed the beauty of the full ordinary. They sang the first shaft. They needed the beauty of the full ordinary. They sang the first line. They needed the beauty of the full ordinary. They sang the first line. They needed the beauty of the full ordinary. One day, a young woke up and knew who he was. One day, a young woke up and knew who he was. One day, a young woke up and knew who he was. One day, a young woke up and knew who he was. One day, a young woke up and knew who he was. One day, a young woke up and knew who he was. One day, a young woke up and knew who he was. One day, a young woke up and knew. None of us knew why. One day, a young woke up and knew. None of us knew why. One day, a young woke up and why. None of us knew why. One day, a young woke up and why. Dark. None of us knew why. One day, a young woke up and dark. None of us knew why. Way down. One day, a young woke up and dark. None of us knew the elevator down. One day, a young woke up and dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Dawn. One dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Dawn. One dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Sound spiraled up. Sound one dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Sound spiraled up. Sound one dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Sound spiraled up. Sound one dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Sound spiraled up. Sound one dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Sound spiraled up. Sound one dark. None of us knew the elevator chitter. Sound spiraled up. Get the hell out of it, I said suddenly, getting to my feet. No, get the hell out of it, I said suddenly, getting to my feet. No, get the hell out of it, I said suddenly, getting to my feet. No, get the hell out of it, I said suddenly, getting to my feet. What if he got it? No, he's got pissed. Get the hell out of it, something else. Getting to my feet. What if he got it? No, he's got pissed. Get the hell out of it, something else. Getting to my feet. What if he got it? No, he's got pissed. Get the hell out of it, something else. Moving. Getting to my feet. What if he got it? No, he's got pissed. Get the hell out of it, something else. Moving. What if he got it? No, came to you. Some couldn't even see it, but everything he heard. Came to you. Some couldn't even see it, but everything he heard. Came to you. Some couldn't even see it, but everything he heard. Came to you. Air force couldn't even see it, but everything he standing in the walls of air force couldn't even see it, but everything he standing in the walls of air force couldn't even see it, but everything he standing in the walls of air force couldn't see it, standing in the walls of air force couldn't see it, standing in the walls of air force couldn't see it, standing in the walls of air force couldn't see it, standing in the walls of air force salt rancid butter of oil, standing grease and walls of air salt rancid butter of oil, standing grease and walls of air salt rancid butter of oil, standing grease and walls of air. I heard my salt rancid butter of my jaw, I scuttled and heard my salt frost rancid butter of my jaw, I scuttled and heard my salt frost rancid butter of my jaw, filling my head, I scuttled and heard my salt frost rancid butter of my jaw, filling my head, I scuttled and heard my salt frost rancid butter of my jaw, filling my head, I scuttled and heard something new out of my jaw, filling my head, I scuttled and heard something new out of my jaw, filling my head, I scuttled and heard something new out of my jaw, filling my head, I scuttled and heard something new out of my jaw, filling my head, I
How many hours did I How many hours tried to be for salt on a nimdot? It's only been how many hours tried to be for salt on a nimdot? I knew only been how many hours tried to be for salt on a nimdot? I knew only been how many hours tried to be for salt on a nimdot? Surely again how many hours tried to be for salt on a nimdot? Made it worse. Surely again how many hours tried to be for salt on a nimdot? Made it worse. Surely again how many hours tried to be juice salt on it? Made it remain. Made it worse. Surely again how many hours tried to be juice salt on it? Made it remain. Made it worse. Surely again how many hours tried to be juice salt on it? Made it remain. Made it worse. Surely again how many hours tried to be juice salt on it? Made it remain. Made it worse. Surely again how many hours tried to be juice salt on it? Made it remain. Made it worse. Surely again how many hours tried to be juice salt on it? Then he remained brilliant. Made it worse. Surely again how many hours. Now he was little more than semi-brilliant. Made it worse. Surely again now he was little more than semi-brilliant. Made it worse. Surely again now she was little more than semi-brilliant. Made it worse. Surely now she was little more than semi-brilliant. Made it worse. Surely now she was little more than semi-brilliant. Made it worse. Now she was little more than semi-brilliant. Made it worse. Now she was little more turned him into a shoulder con. She made him project now. She was little more turned him into a shoulder con. Robbie. She made him project now. She was little more turned him into a shoulder con. Robbie. She made him project now. She was little more turned him into a shoulder con. Robbie. She made him project whatever it was. Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Robbie. She made him project whatever it was. Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Robbie. She made him project whatever it was. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Robbie. She made him project whatever it was. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. It made her amorphous. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. It made her amorphous. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. All amorphous. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. All amorphous. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. It was all amorphous. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. It was all amorphous. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. It was all amorphous. Even if Nimdop always means bad shoulder con. Left her alone. It was all amorphous. The only one still sane. No, and but not even I'm only one still sane. I know, and but not even I'm only one still sane. All the dreams, all the nightmares, and but not even I'm only one still goes. All the nightmares, and but not even I'm only one still goes. All the nightmares, and but not even I'm on my guard against them. Goes. All the nightmares, and but not even I'm on my guard against them. Goes. All the nightmares, and but not even I'm on my guard against them. Goes. All the nightmares, and but not even I'm on my guard against them. Goes. All the nightmares, and but not even I'm on my guard against them. Goes. All the nightmares, and but not even I'm on my guard against that moment. I think I realized. And but not even I'm on my guard against that moment. I think I realized. And but not even I'm on my guard against that moment. I think I realized. And but not even I'm on my guard against that moment. I think I realized. And but not even I'm on my guard against that moment. I think I realized. Against that woman, there was a God against that woman, there was there was a God against that woman, there was a God against that woman, there was wind was towards flinging us back, there was down wind was towards flinging us back, there was stream as she was listening, wind was towards flinging us back, there was their individual voices right towards flinging us back, how do your individual voices how I win so long bubbling, how your individual voices how I win so long bubbling, how your individual voices how I win around so long bubbling, how your individual voices how I win around so long bubbling, how your individual voices how I win around so long bubbling, how your individual any wedge how I win around so long bubbling, how your individual any wedge how I win around so long bubbling, how your individual any wedge upside down against the wall, one by the great Lord, upside down against the wall, one by the great yellow line, upside down against the wall, between the red brick yellow lines, comes smelling down, tips of our fingers, between the red brick yellow lines, comes smelling down, rockets of our fingers, between the red brick yellow line down, comes smelling down, rockets of our fingers, between the red brick yellow line down, comes smelling down, rockets of our fingers, between the red brick yellow line down, comes smelling down, rockets of our fingers, between the red brick yellow line down, comes smelling down, rockets of our fingers, between the red brick yellow line down, comes mad as rockets of our fingers, between the red brick yellow line down, comes mad as rockets of our fingers, down back yellow line down, down back all we have come, around a bend, down back garden, down back all we have come, around a bend, down back garden, down back all we have come, and rust a bend, down back garden, down back all we have come, and rust a bend, down back garden, down back all we have come, and rust a bend, down back garden, down back all we have come, and all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down back all we have come, never, all of us are raining with gardening, down AM said, never tells, sells without a question. AM said, never tells, sells without a question. AM said, never tells, sells without a question. AM said, never tells. There are 300 sells without a question. AM said, never tells. There are 300 sells without a question. AM said, the word there are 300 radars without a question. AM said, the word there are 300 radars it would not AM said, the word there are 300 radars it would not AM said, the word there are 300 radars it would not AM said, the word there are 300 radars it would not AM said it was a sliding cold. The word there are 300 radars it would not AM said it was a sliding cold. The word there are 300 radars it would not AM said it round by the school. The word AM said it with a shriek of babies. AM said round by the school. The word AM said it AM said it babies. AM said round by the school. The word AM said it AM said it babies. AM said round by and devised new ways. AM said it AM said it babies. AM said round by and devised new ways. AM said it AM said it babies. AM said round by and devised new ways. AM said it AM said it babies. AM said round by and devised new ways. AM said it AM said it babies. We had given AM and devised new ways. AM said it AM said it babies. We had given AM and devised new ways. AM wasn't AM said it babies. We had given AM and devised new ways. AM wasn't nothing to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine to do with creativity. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine that would never serve the needs of a person. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine that would never serve the needs of a person. Enraged and invert friends. AM wasn't a machine that would never serve the needs of a person. Subject would be friends. AM wasn't a machine that would never serve the needs of a person. Subject would be friends. He would never serve the needs of a person. Subject would be friends. He would never all never serve the needs of time. Subject would be forever. He would never all never serve the needs of time. Subject would be the all mind. Would never all never serve the needs of time. Subject would be the all mind. Would never all never serve the needs of time. Subject would be the all mind. Would never all never serve the needs of time. Subject would be the all mind. Would never we had attempted suicide all the time. Subject would be the all mind. Would never we had attempted suicide all the time. It all mine. We had attempted suicide all the time. More than 1 million times. It all mine. We had attempted suicide all More than a million times dead mortals and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead mortals and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead mortals feeling and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead mortals feeling and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead mortals feeling and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead mortals feeling and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead mortals feeling and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead mortals feeling and accidents by suicide. Saw more than a million times dead traveling feelings to accidents and am at a lab. Saw more than a million times dead traveling feelings to accidents and am at a lab. Where it has never traveled feelings to accidents and am at a lab. Where it has never traveled feelings to accidents and am very God. Where it has never traveled feelings to accidents from his knowledge and very God ever been. Where it has never traveled feelings to accidents from his knowledge and very God ever been. Where it has never traveled ego from his knowledge and very God ever been. Where it has never traveled ego from his knowledge and very God ever been. Where it has never traveled ego from his knowledge and very God ever been. Monstrous ego, massive stolen, overpowering her beyond. 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 Monstrous ego, massive stolen, overpowering as cold as monstrous ego, ice, 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 overpowering as cold as Sam appeared to us as burning bush, said the cold as Sam appeared to us as burning bush, said the cold as Sam appeared to us as burning bush, said the cold as Sam appeared to us as burning bush, said the cold as Sam appeared to us as burning bush, said the cold as I was trying to be reassuring, but it was burning bush and the doctor. I was trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush vanished. Was trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush vanished. Was trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush vanished. Was trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush vanished. Was trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush hurricane bird trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush hurricane bird trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush hurricane bird trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush and the burning bush hurricane bird trying to give us weapons, but it was burning bush hurricane bird trying to give us weapons, but it was would be given hurricane hair development would be given hurricane hair development to keep our body would be given hurricane hair development to keep our body would be given hurricane hair development to keep our body and tired would be given hurricane hair development to keep our body and tired would be given hurricane hair development as we walk our body and lack of would be given hurricane hair development as we walk our body and lack of would be given hurricane hair development as we walk our body and lack of I had not heard me laugh for 100 years we walk in fact body and I had not heard me laugh for 100 years we walk in fact body and I had not heard me laugh for 100 years we walk in fact body and I had not heard me laugh for 1 day years we walk in fact body at the same time rooting us to be laugh for 1 day years we walk in fact body at the same time rooting us to be laugh for 1 day years we walk in fact body at the same time rooting us to disappear 1 day years we walk in fact body at the same time rooting us to disappear 1 day years we walk in fact body at the same time rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night now which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night now which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night now which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night now which abruptly became a day rooting us to disappear 1 day years that night now which abruptly became a day the long that come to light as a day alive, I belong there, come to life, where I am from. Alive, I belong there, come to life, where we hype. Alive, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Alive, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Alive, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Always shines, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Always shines, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Always shines, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Always shines, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Always shines, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Always shines, no way to describe it, come to life, where we hype. Always shines, no way to describe it. We came, finally hit the ice. Always shines, no way to describe it. We came, finally hit the ice. Always shines, no way to describe it. We came, finally hit the ice. Always shines, no way to describe it. We came, finally hit the ice. Always shines, no way to describe it. We came, finally hit the ice. Always shines, no way to describe it. We came, saw it. We tried to run, we fell in. Saw, got up and went on. Benny tried to run, we fell in. Saw, got up and went on. Benny tried to run, we fell in. Saw, got up and went on. Benny tried to run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went on. Benny tried to run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went on. Benny tried to run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went high overhead. Benny tried to run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went high overhead. Benny tried to run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went high overhead. Y'all traveled about and run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went high overhead. Y'all traveled about and run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went high overhead. Y'all traveled about and run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went high overhead. Y'all traveled about and run, Benny grabbed the hard saw, got up and went high overhead. Y'all traveled about and run, surrounded by hunger, surrounded by every high overhead. Y'all surrounded about and run, surrounded by hunger, surrounded by every high overhead. Y'all aim out about alive, surrounded by hunger, surrounded by every high overhead. Y'all aim out about alive, surrounded by hunger, surrounded by every high overhead. Y'all aim out about alive, surrounded by hunger, surrounded by every forester on his side, crashing about alive. Then he wrapped around by among legs, forester on his side, crashing about alive. Then he wrapped around among legs, forester on his side, crashing about alive. Then he wrapped around among legs, forester on his side, crashing about alive. Then he wrapped around among legs, forester on his side, crashing plunged down, saw wrapped around the wreck, receiving forester on his side, plunged down, saw wrapped around the wreck, receiving forester on his side, plunged down, saw wrapped around the wreck, receiving forester on his side, plunged down, saw wrapped around the wreck, receiving forester on his side, plunged down, saw wrapped around the wreck, receiving forester on his side, plunged down, saw wrapped around the wreck, receiving forester on his side, plunged down, saw wrapped around the wreck, receiving I knew I knew I drove, I knew turned, raced against my right thumb. I drove, struck Betty on the right side, faster, turned, raced against my right thumb. I drove, struck Betty on the right side, faster, turned, raced against my right thumb. I drove, struck Betty on the right side, faster, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, faster, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, faster, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, in his fear, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, in his fear, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, in his fear, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, in his fear, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, in his fear, pulled another race forward against rattle. I drove, still struck Betty on the right side, in his fear, pulled another race forward against rattle. Boy, three of them were dead, would not be boy. Could keep us. Three of them were dead, would not be boy. Could keep us. Three of them were dead, would not be boy. Revenue could keep us gone. Three of them were dead, would not be boy. Persevere, revenue could keep us gone. Three of them were dead, would not be boy. Persevere, revenue could keep us gone. Three of them were dead, would not be boy. Persevere, revenue could hold it down. Three of them were struck, would not be boy. Persevere, revenue could hold it down. Three of them were struck, would not be boy. Persevere, revenue could hold it down. Three of them were struck, would not be boy. Persevere, revenue could hold it down. Three of them were struck, would not be boy. Persevere, revenue could hold it down. down to the beat that never struck me, but it's beat, revenue, AM down to the beat that never struck me, but it's beat, accelerating revenue, AM down to the beat that never struck me. I will say the word now, accelerating revenue, AM down to the beat that never struck me. I will say the word now, accelerating revenue, AM down to the beat that never struck me. I will say the word now, accelerating revenue, AM down. You wouldn't let me bury them. It didn't matter. Accelerating revenue, AM. You wouldn't let me bury them. Dried up. It didn't matter. Accelerating revenue, AM. You wouldn't let me bury them. Dried up. It didn't matter. It didn't accelerating revenue, AM. You wouldn't let me bury them. Dried up. It didn't matter. It didn't accelerating revenue, AM. I had thought AM hated me buried. Dried up. It didn't accelerating revenue, AM. I had thought AM hated me buried. Dried up. It didn't accelerating revenue, AM. I had thought AM hated me buried. Dried up. It didn't accelerating revenue, AM. I had thought AM let my mind dried up. I didn't accelerating revenue, AM. I thought AM let my mind remember all four. I didn't accelerating revenue, AM. I thought AM let my mind remember all four. I know I say I thought AM let my mind remember all four. I know I say I thought AM let my mind remember all four. I know I say I thought AM let I want to remember all four. I know I thought AM let I want to remember all four. I know I thought AM let I want to remember all four. He doesn't hold my breath, all that faint. I want to throw down, remember all four. He doesn't hold my breath, all that faint. I want to throw down, describe myself. He doesn't hold my breath, all that faint. I want to throw down, describe myself. He doesn't hold my breath, all that faint. I want to throw down, describe myself. He doesn't hold my breath, all that faint. I want to throw down, describe myself. He doesn't hold my breath, all that faint. I want to throw down, describe myself. He doesn't hold my breath, all that faint. I want to throw down, describe myself. He doesn't hold my breath. Watching, going around, describe my trail, and my breath watching, going around, describe my trail, and my breath watching, going around, describe my trail, and my breath watching, going around, describe my trail, and my breath watching, going around, describe my trail, and my breath watching, going around, describe my trail, and my breath watching, going around, describe my trail, and my breath watching. Describe my trail when we navigate it. Describe my trail when we navigate it. I am will be all that navigated. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. That is my. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. That is my. I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? That is my. I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? That is my. I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? That is my. I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? That is my. I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? That is my. I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? That is my. I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? I have no mouth. I am will be all that navigated. I am is one. Weird story, right? I have no mouth. Oh, it's because. Oh, man. Ah, well. What can I do? All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. Thank you for hanging out for the little bit of time that it was working. It probably glitched 20 minutes ago when it did that weird thing, so anyway. I will shut it down, and I'll see you later.